Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Endless Legend 2 as we're playing as the Last Lords. So we're going to be picking up right where we left off on the previous episode with this battle of Gepte. Before we do that though, we're just going to do a couple other things while I'm thinking about it. We're going to get something constructing here in Dawnbreak. We're going to work on a merchant's house to increase the amount of dust that we produce, because we're really not getting very much at the moment, or at least not for the Last Lords. So we're going to get that constructed here. That's going to increase it by, I think it said +8. That's going to take 4 turns. We could also rush it using some dust. But the other thing we need to do is attach this location to the capital. And so you'll see that that'll change on the map. It'll now be a solid color rather than the stripes that was there before. And the bonuses from these tiles will now be granted to Dawnbreak. And so we'll be producing a lot more dust. And let me see what else we're all getting here. We're getting some production, though it's still going to take 4 turns to finish up that merchant's house. And I think most importantly, we're getting a bunch of science. So that should allow us to research a bit faster, which may just take a look, 70 more turns. It's going to be 2 turns. So we sped the civil order up by 1 turn because I believe it was going to take 3. So let's go ahead and do this battle now. So we're going to want to do a manual battle. And we could have moved our units around, but we're attacking them, so we'll get the first turn anyways. And unfortunately, they're uphill, and so we won't be able to get any of the bonuses for attacking downhill, and we don't want them to get those bonuses either, which means we need to stay away from these tiles here. And so I think we're going to sit in the forest, because you also get the defensive bonus here. So let's put our 2 units, and we'll actually have a 3rd unit, because we'll get another one that will spawn out. So let's have them in these 3 locations here. This guy will be here. And then we want to make sure we make use of his active ability here. Spawn that other unit. He should have probably been in the middle since he gives those defensive bonuses. I don't know if we'll be able to switch them before they get here. We'll have to see. So let's go and set up all these units to defend. But yeah, we'll want to switch these 2 out, but obviously his movement points are expended. So for right now, we'll just leave them here. We'll just have to see how close they get in the next turns. We gotta set that guy up to defend so they can actually move here. Okay, so they weren't able to get all the way to us. And we don't want to attack them here. This is a very good defensive location. They're uphill and they have the forest. So obviously we'll want them to come to us. So in order to switch these 2 units out, we'll have to move this guy over here and this guy over here and then him over to here. And then just set them all up to defend. So with him in the center, now he's given the defensive bonuses for both of these 2 units. And then this guy should probably go over to here. Maybe we'll bring him over here to do some attacking once we're confident that he won't get destroyed. I mean, really, he's kind of a useless unit. He doesn't really cost much to maintain, so you can keep him around. He can still do damage. But yeah, he's pretty much useless because he's killed in 1 hit. So you can bring them in at like the end of the battle. I can see that being useful. So let's go ahead and see how we want to do this. Well, we can almost kill this unit here with just 1 attack. So let's attack there first and then wipe this unit out. Gives us the Gifts of the Fallen, which will heal any of our units. Unfortunately, I forgot this was a range unit. I was thinking this was that one land unit that we had, but he died. And then we got this range unit here, the Scholastic, from one of those quests. And so we should have had him, I don't know, sitting up here or something like that. But yeah, we can go and attack here. We can't move without getting attacked. I don't think he has any, he doesn't have any abilities to avoid being attacked. So if we moved him, that would give them a chance to attack us. So it's just better to leave him here. And then what we're going to want to do is set up this guy to defend so they can have their turn. So yeah, we'll take a lot of damage to the rage unit because you know, obviously this is not what they're good at. They're not good at fighting in melee. So what we're going to want to do is strike with this guy to try and get this unit as close to being destroyed as we can. He's still going to be able to attack us 1 more time, unfortunately. And then with our hero, the Duke Weybridge, we're going to use that Power Slash. So what's nice about this is you can do damage to multiple units, up to 3 units. You just got to make sure you pay attention to where you attack, because it does damage to the 2 neighboring tiles. And so say if we were to attack here, then that would also do damage to our own unit. This does have friendly fire, so we want to make sure we attack at this location. And you can see that did a lot of damage to these units. They're not very powerful units, luckily. And I suppose we can bring this guy in now. I doubt he'll play a role at this point. He might even get himself killed if this guy attempts to move in here, but I think that'd get him smacked. He did decide to go after that unit and kill him. Okay, that's fine, because I actually wanted to get him away from the range units. Though it didn't matter, because this guy came over here and attacked him. Okay, so let's get this unit destroyed. And then have this guy... You see he does a lot more damage when he's doing an actual ranged attack and isn't in melee range there. And with that, we were able to destroy all these units and heal our units as well with the Gifts of the Fallen. We did lose our Consul's Guard, but again, he only had the 1 health, so it's fine. It's kind of hard to keep that guy alive because of that penalty. Now keep in mind that Consul Guards usually have much more health. That was just because that was the one that we got through the event. Alright, so we could go and rush that out. I always feel weird about rushing out a building that produces dust or gold or whatever, because then you have to calculate how many turns it'll take just to pay off the cost that you spent to produce it. But then again, there's also the fact that there's the opportunity cost of producing something else that you're not getting. So it's always hard to calculate whether it's worth it or not, how many turns it's going to take for you to, pay it off. But we did destroy their 1 army, so that's excellent. And we're going to be attacking these 2 locations. That's where those necromonsters are, who killed one of our units. So we're going to be getting revenge on them. And we're going to want to combine these 2 armies here. So this is a good strength army at 462, and then you also got to count the fact that we can spawn that other unit. And that should be good enough to take over both of these 2 locations, or at least to wipe them out, and then to make a claim here on Dandela. So we did get another event, a wondrous stash. Our soldiers have made a satisfying discovery deep in this forest. Come see. So you might have seen the question mark when our unit ran through there. So this is pertaining to that. Incredible, a well-hidden cave stocked with treasures. Valuable, no doubt, but their purpose is unclear. They seem otherworldly. Someone approaches. Who trespasses? This is a unknown stranger. I'd hazard you are the trespasser. Where are you from, stranger? Nowhere you'd know. Now I suggest you leave. Forget you ever came across this place. For your own sakes. So with many events, you'll get a choice on what you want to do. In this case, we can negotiate or attack. Negotiating, we're saying we take no orders from no one. And then we'll lose 1 movement point. And then we'll get this rare one-handed weapon. Applies Cursed Defense, and the Shield Shockwave 2 active ability will be available. Or we can just attack. We can forget about this place for a price. It'll give us 100 dust. I think we're going to do this one. We can always use extra item. I don't know how that compares to the one we currently have. Probably better. So yeah, we'll go and negotiate. Because that thing is definitely worth the dust, which we can't sell yet because we don't have the ability to sell items just yet. But eventually we can sell that, and it's worth 400 dust, so obviously it's the better option. And, we don't have to attack everybody as soon as we meet them. So we, the Last Lords, don't like threats. We're going to strip this cave bare. You don't know who you mess with. These things are beyond your ken. You might escape with something you figure out, but your soldiers will suffer for it, I promise that. So we can't equip that to the Duke because he uses a 2-handed weapon. That's what his class uses, so it's not an option to equip this character, but we might be able to use that with one of our other characters. We're going to go ahead and heal our unit with 20 dust, and then we'll get this done in 3 turns. Could of course rush it, but again, we'll just keep our dust for now. And then we also have to continue exploring with this unit over here, so let's move further into the jungle here. So we did discover another minor faction, the Black Hammers, and we now know the location of the humans. So at least that's one of their cities. So we just researched the civil order. So that's going to increase the approval in the capital. Again, we're going to try and get the approval up as high as we can and result in our production being higher. Let's go and research that next. Start focusing a bit more on science so we can research faster. I think what we're going to do with our dust, rather than rushing this out, is go ahead and get another population. That'll get us up to 5. And let's see where that unit is. So they're over here on the citizens. Remember, we don't want our population to be citizens. We're going to put them over here to scribes, get more science, and get more influence as well. Yeah, I don't know why they keep doing the tutorials, even though I've already gone through all those. Might need to disable it in the settings. Not entirely sure. So let's go ahead and continue exploring. We're going to actually start going up north here now, since I don't think we have open borders with them. We have the non-aggression pact, but they close their borders to us. I almost want to make a claim on this location. Since we have the non-aggression pact, we want to worry about them attacking us. Yeah, I think we will, because I don't want them to get it. It's right next to our capital here. So you know what, let's go ahead and found a camp. Although we might want to finish exploring the region, like go up here first. Because this is just going to grant us production. But you know what, I don't really know that any of these are going to be better. But for right now, we'll wait until we see what's up here. Yeah, I think this is the end of it. I don't really see where would be better. Oh, it looks like there might be a little bit of a region up there. You know, guys, I really don't think there's going to be anything better here than this location. So that's where we're going to place it. So we do have to go backwards, unfortunately. That's okay. We'll set that up in the next turn. And then with this unit, see if we can attack them. We can. All right, excellent. Oh, so there's 3 locations here. So we'll have to fight 3 villages. So again, we're not going to parlay or bribe. We're going to attack them. You can see what their strength is. And you know what, let me take a look at where our units are located this time, because I forgot that we had a ranged unit. So with the ranged unit, you might want to place them somewhere else. So they're going to be uphill again. I really feel like this is the best location to be. I don't want them coming down here, which I assume that's the way they'll go. But let's go ahead and bring our units down. And we actually have more melee units this time. But we're going to try and get into this forest here in the hope that with them spawning in this location, they'll come this way. So I can put the archer up on this hill here. I think that'd be the best way to do, which I'm not sure what their range is. Let me just take a look. They got a range 3, which you can see that on the tooltip here. So it can attack 3 tiles away. So if they were sitting up here, they would be able to attack this area, which is where we want the enemy to go. So let's go ahead and do the manual battle. And again, we're going to want to spawn that 1 unit here. It's the best place for them. Let's move this guy here first, though, since this will end his turn. And then this unit here, which is the unit I thought we had in that last battle, was the stalwart. So I thought we had a line of 3 melee units. So what we're going to want to do to keep them from coming this way, which they might still come this way, is let's go ahead and have this unit start moving over. I'm not sure how long it would take to get all the way around there. I don't know if that's the most efficient way of doing it. I'm hoping with this being closer, they'll come this way. So let's have the archer go over here. And then we do need to set these guys all up to defend. And we'll see where they go. They did go this way. All right, fantastic. That's the direction we wanted. And so now we can bring the archer back up to here. So the next turn, he'll be able to attack them. What I would have done in the previous battle if I had remembered that we had a ranged unit. I called him archer. Obviously, he's not an archer. Let's go. We'll have to go here. That's fine as well, because we can strike all this area. And then just set up our defenses again. Let them come to us. We do need to set this guy up to defend. Yeah, the AI always seems to come after you rather than staying on the defense, even if that would be in their best interest. And that was something that we exploited in humanity as well, or excuse me, in humankind. Humanity is a completely different game. Yeah, in humankind, we would also exploit that. However, a major difference with this game, as I mentioned in the previous episode, is the fact that you can't do any damage while you're defending. So it doesn't make it quite as easy to exploit. You know, I'm gonna wait to attack with the archer till I know how we did on damage. Alright, so we're gonna strike this unit and do damage to these two. And then we can probably get this guy destroyed with the archer, so we'll attack here. And then this guy will attack here. And again, I'm gonna call him an archer, despite the fact that they're very much not archers. They're like using magic, as you can see. I'm gonna call them mages. I'll try and remember to call them mages instead of archers. Alright, so you can see this is gonna be a little bit tougher battle, just because of the number of units. And you know, if I knew that unit was gonna go over there, I would have waited to use our power slash, since you can only use it once. And we could have hit him here and then done damage to all 3 units, but obviously we didn't know that he was going to go there. Let me see if we can. Yeah, we can. Let's use the archer to destroy that unit, since our hero does the most damage, and we don't want to waste his attack on a unit that's already really weak, and this guy couldn't do it on his own. Alright, so let's go ahead and focus our attacks on this unit here. Try and get him killed. Now, I'm not sure. It says you cannot stop on this tile, but I'm not entirely sure if they could have went through it and then come this location and attack downhill. They chose not to do that regardless, so. How many units do they have? I thought they only had 4, but apparently they had 5 since we know we killed that one. Alright, so he's going to have to attack this unit. And we're going to continue focusing our attacks on this guy to get him destroyed. So that should result in his death. And now there's only 2 units, and with the Gifts of the Fallen, you know, we continue to heal with every enemy unit we kill. But yeah, they're healing themselves as well with each attack. Now, this guy is going to have to lose the forest bonus, basically. Let me see if we can kill him with the archer. It looks like we could not. I still called him archer with the mage. Let's go and attack there. And then, yeah, we will bring this unit out of the forest so that we can actually do an attack here. And we'll just kind of gang up on this one unit in the next turn, and that should result in his death. So we'll hit him with the mage unit first. And then we'll bring our hero unit in. And then we'll attack with this guy. Alright, excellent. So we lead the battle and all our units are fully healed, since that other unit obviously is a spawned one. And this is what we got from the battle spoils. We got a lot of dust. We also got some poison salts. We're going to have to get that equipped. And we got this exotic item. This increases determination and gives plus 36 damage. So we can't actually equip that on the warrior unit. We'll have to wait till we get different class units. I want to show you guys why we can't sell these items, because we don't have a trading post just yet. But the poison salts we can place on our hero. Again, this is a consumable, so one-time use, and it gives you the poison salts power. So just hover over that. It's having some issues with the tooltips here. Like if you hover over them once and then it disappears, then you gotta like move your mouse to get it to pop back up. But yeah, you can see this is pretty useful. It's an area effect one as well. And then the next skill we're gonna get is Death Blow. So this ignores the defense of a targeted unit if they are damaged, and deals 40 damage, which is quite a bit. It's a bit more than the charge, though this of course teleports the unit to the targeted tile. And then it gives 5 damage per point in determination and 3 extra damage per point in might. We only have 1 point in might, but we have 3 points in determination, so pretty useful overall. This one also does that, but the base damage is 10 less. But one of the best bonuses for this is the fact that if the targeted unit is eliminated, but you do want to target a unit that is damaged, since that'll give you this extra bonus to ignore the defense, so you're highly likely to kill them. And if you do, then the hero can act again. So incredibly powerful ability. But like, you know, most active skills, you can only use it once, so that's what limits it. But let's go and select it, and we'll get to use that in the next battle. And remember, because we select that option in that one event, unfortunately, we will continue to only have 2 movement points for another 8 turns, because our unit is tired. So I don't know if we'll be able to get all the way over here. It looks like we can. So we'll be able to do another battle. But before we do that, let me take a look at our city, because we did finish up the construction of the merchant's house. So let's go ahead and start up some additional construction. We're going to go ahead and build the Soul Repository. So this will also grant approval, but more importantly, it grants +1 primordial last lord population. So it'll increase our population, and it won't be a regular population. I'll show you guys the differences to that once we get this. So let's go ahead and get that started. That's going to take 4 turns. Could, of course, just rush it out. We do have a lot of dust, so you know what? Let's go ahead and do that, guys. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at that new population type. So they do look a bit different, and they have different bonuses. So with our normal last lord units, we get the +2 influence and then the -3 approval if we have them as a citizen, while the primordial last lord gets +1 dust and +1 influence. So not as much influence. Instead, you're getting the dust. But what's nice about them is that you're not going to get that penalty, and more dust is always helpful. So we could keep them as a citizen. But you know what? I really like having at least one of these as a scribe. They just seem kind of scribe-like. So let's move those guys over there, and then one of these guys over here. Yeah, like that. And then maybe move this guy back. So just moving our pops around a bit. And I'm not sure if we looked at this in the last episode, but this is one of the special abilities for our faction, Sacrifice for the Realm. So basically, we can consume one of the foreign populations, because these are almost like, I don't know, kind of like soul vampires, I suppose. Because yeah, like they're like souls within this magical armor, and then they can consume other population units. So in the case of this city, it would be these 2 units that we could consume, and with each absorbed foreign population, it gives a 50% of a last lord population. So we'd have to consume 2 of those in order to get 1 of our own populations. So exchanging 2 pops for 1 pop doesn't seem like it's worth it unless you're already at the population count. However, the thing to consider is that you're actually getting dust from this. In this case, we'd get the 520 dust. So, you know, you're going to get that benefit as well. It's a nice, easy way to get some dust. All right, so let's go ahead and do the attack over here. Although I think we need to construct something else, don't we? Yeah, because we rushed out that building. So let me go ahead and get something else being worked on. We could also extend our reach here. But before we do that, let's build around our capital so that we can try and level it up. Because you'll notice that these districts have levels. All of these are currently level 1. The way you level those up is by building other districts around them. So by surrounding the capital, the city hall here, with districts, we'll level it up, make it better. And with the city hall, you know, your capital here, that one's really important to level up because it gives you some additional benefits. So let's go ahead and get something constructed here, and I think we're going to do the forum to get more influence, because influence is always useful. Alright, so let's go ahead and do another attack over here. And we'll just need to come down here and attack those guys. So the terrain is now changing. Okay, so we'll probably want to set up... Yeah, all these locations here would result in them getting the uphill bonuses. Same thing here with the forest ones. They're going to have the uphill bonus, and they'll be in the forest as well, so your forest bonuses aren't as useful. So really it makes the most sense in this particular case to actually push forward now. So we won't be staying on the defense. We're going to get up on this hill here. So we want to make sure all of our units are as close as they can be. Alright, so let's go and do the manual battle. And then we're going to bring this unit... I wish he could move over there, but that's not an option. I suppose it doesn't matter because he's not going to be able to do his ability just yet, because first we need to spawn this unit, which, let's see how we want to do this. Can he reach over there? He cannot. Okay, so that's unfortunate. I was hoping we'd be able to occupy the ridge here, but that is not the case. So let's go ahead and spawn... I'll have to spawn him here. Yeah. And then just move this guy over to here for now. And then we don't want them to come over here and get the range bonus, so let's move over to here. And that'll let us start with the first attack. And we're going to attack this guy here. So focus our attacks on that unit. And then he'll just have to defend for now. So yeah, I assumed they would come up around here. That did result in them getting attacked, but that allowed them to get up close to our range unit. So that's unfortunate. Oh yeah, they're just wrecking the range unit. Alright, well that makes sense to focus on them. But now we can attack downhill, so obviously kind of a big penalty there. Oh, you know what we should have did? We should have used our death blow. I forgot we had that. That would have been helpful because we would have destroyed that unit and then we would have another attack. Alright, and then this guy, let's go and attack him there. And yeah, not going to do a lot of damage here, but if we moved, then they'd get to attack us again, so it's just better to do the attack. Let our mages fire on them. Alright, so yeah, these guys are doing very well against our range unit. And then we're going to move over here, so we'll build attack downhill. Let me see, is this guy... You know what, the way we want to do this is attack with this unit first. And then we'll want to do the death blow. And unfortunately that's not quite enough. So we need to attack with this guy first. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that, even though I don't know how useful this will be. You know, the extra action, because I don't think it restores your movement points. Yeah, so like you could do another attack. Like we could do this active skill, for instance, but we can't actually move over there. So really it's just going to let us defend. But that's fine. They'll attack them, they won't actually kill them. So let's go ahead and do as much damage as we can here. And then we'll go and kill them with our hero unit. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's unfortunate that they are heavily damaged now. So we might want to heal them up before we do the next battle. Now you notice that the Stalwart has leveled up. You can see those chevrons there denoting what level they are. The Scholastic has already leveled up. Might have already started that way actually. But that just improves their abilities. So we got that dust. We also got a flask of dust fire. Okay, so that's a consumable. And then we found an accessory, the Crimson Wing Rune, which increases determination. So that's what is most useful to our hero. And also gives the Fleet Winds, adds +1 movement points to itself and all flying units of the army. So we don't have any flying units, so that's not really going to help us, but the extra movement point is useful for our hero units. You know what? I forgot we actually have that accessory that we'll probably want to keep, even though it doesn't grant the determination, which is a bit more helpful than the might and intuition. We really want to keep this for the Xavier's Call, and then we also get the clan protection, so that's niceful as well. So we'll have to use this for a different unit, so we won't be changing anything there. Alright, so he is out of movement points. And it'll probably take 2 turns to get down to that final village. So we might come over here and heal up in the next turn. So it'll take us a while to finish up in that region. And then we need to set up the camp here before this unit does it. Alright, so that's going to take us 1 turn. Of course, they could attack us here normally, but we do have that non-aggression pact. So we just take a look here. Yeah, this is... unfortunately, it keeps popping up, but we do have that non-aggression back, so they won't be able to attack us. I'm hoping by being friendly with them, they'll open borders with us. I don't really want to fight these guys because, you know, we already know that we have the necrophage over here. Oh, they're actually invading into our territory right now with a fairly decent-sized army here, so that's one reason to move our army down here. Now, looking at the current strength, they're at 427, so weaker than our army, and that's not even counting the extra unit that we have. Because they have these really weak larva units, which we saw in the battle against them, that they're not too challenging. But yeah, they're coming over here. Now, they could attack us over in that location. They could raid this location here. So I really feel like we need to go into our own territory. We can deal with this last village later. Let's go ahead and heal up, and then we'll start moving our unit to engage with them. And let's get the scout unit out of here because we don't want them to get attacked. Because I assume they're going to come over here and raid this. That's what the necrophages generally like to do. So we'll keep these guys exploring. But they won't likely destroy it. Instead, they'll just raid it to get themselves bonuses. And so unfortunately, with the slower movement points, it's going to be hard to catch up with these guys. They have the 3 movement points. And then let's go and fully explore. Oh, there's some goodies over here. Fully explore this zone here. See what was all in the area. So since we own this and didn't know the full extent of the province. So we finished up our research. For the next tech, we're going to go ahead and get the scientific charter. So again, really focusing on the science stuff now. And we take a look. Yeah, we do want to rush this out. It's only going to be 6 dust. And so once we get that, that'll be some increased influence. And you'll notice right there that it did level up our city hall. It's now an advanced city hall. Got a nice little animation there. So we only have 1 more tile that we can build on. So now would be a good time to get a foundation started. Which this is a better location. And it leads you over to here. So you can get access to the increased approval, which you'll notice that our population is currently happy, and so that's going to boost our industry. We're getting +5 industry because of the 65% approval rating, and so you can get that higher up to 85%, and that'll further boost the approval. So we'll attempt to do that, but let's go and get another foundation set up. We could do this to get access to that, but there's a lot of dust here, so let's do one here first, and we could grab this one here as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll get these 2 locations set up. That'll get us 5 total dust per turn, but we will still need to get something constructing there. So let's go ahead and start with, I think on this tile, we'll construct the communal habitation. So like all districts, it levels up when it's surrounded by 4 other districts, and it's going to grant a +1 population slot. Not really something we need. However, if you guys recall, all these other districts increase their resource gain. +1 industry, +2 dust. Well, this one grants us bonuses with any district, but +1 science if they are adjacent to a communal habitation. So that's the main benefit of it, is if you surround it with districts, they're going to get some bonuses. So that's what we'll do there. We'll get the communal habitation. But for right now, let me first get another merchant's house over here. We always need more dust. It's quite helpful. And we could rush that out. But again, I don't want to rush out a merchant house. Instead, let's rush out a population. I say rush out a population. Obviously, that's the only way we can get population. So let's go ahead and place them in the scribes. We have increased population cap. And really just focus on the scribes for the research and the influence. Alright, so this army's attempting to catch up with them. So let's go. Yeah, they are going to raid that. Okay, so we'll go right here. And we'll only move, do 1 turn's movement at a time, since we don't know if they're going to be adjusting where they're moving. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue exploring with this unit. See what we can find up here. And there's another larva army over here, so they're really sending out the units. They can get a lot of units quickly, but they're kind of crappy, so as you'd expect from a bug focused faction. Okay, so this is what I was hoping we'd make it to in today's episode.
Sayada grows darker, stranger. This is not the world we imagined, lords of the Amber Plains. But during this deluge, we must stand tall against all this world throws at us.
So one of the unique elements about this game is how the map is always changing. There's always these different events that are happening. There's like these different periods. There's the monsoon period, and after that there'll be another period that will happen. Probably see that in the next episode. So a monsoon has come, new dangers and rewards will appear during the monsoon. Note that temporary bridges may be destroyed, so any ones that we constructed like that one there can be destroyed from the monsoon season. And if you have a unit on a temporary bridge, when it's destroyed, I think the unit gets wiped out. Maybe just damaged and pushed back, but I think they might get completely wiped out. So we don't want to have any units on those bridges at the end of a turn. Minor factions become enraged during the monsoon and will attack anyone nearby. So even minor factions that are normally not aggressive will attack you. Now, not ones that are pacified, so we don't have to worry about the two factions, or excuse me, the two villages within our borders. But you know, the foundlings doesn't really matter because they're aggressive. But these guys up here, who aren't normally aggressive, they would attack our units. And so that can result in you sometimes getting your scouts destroyed. But in addition to that penalty, there's new stuff to find. So you'll see all kinds of new curiosities that are added to the map. And so I think that's really cool because exploration is often many people's favorite parts of these games. So here's those bridges that were destroyed. You know, everybody loves the exploration period, or most people do anyways. And you know, once you do the initial exploration, until you start selling out to look for new lands, like new continents. We got a new population, by the way. Also finish up research here. I think this is all old stuff. Yeah, some of these are like old notifications. This is what's relevant. We'll look at in a minute. But yeah, usually, you know, you have the initial exploration in the 4X game, and then maybe another one when you go look for new continents a bit later in the game. But with this game, in every monsoon season and after, there's new territories to explore, which you'll see what I mean by that after the monsoon ends. And there's new things to find, new curiosities. So the goody huts, basically, from Civilization, they're re-added to the map. And so it gives you a reason to go back out and explore. I think it's interesting. So the council seat, we'll want to take a look at that, as we saw that our characters can give bonuses if they are on the council. That was something that wasn't unlocked yet. Well, now it is. Unfortunately, my neighbor just started weed whacking, so you might hear that in the background. We're almost done with this episode, though. I want to show you guys the council here. So when we click on that, we've locked the council. We'll get 2 more slots, one with the second monsoon and the other with the third monsoon. We currently have 2 empty council seats here. You'd think we'd only have 1 character, Duke Onwin Weybridge. However, we actually have all these other characters from that other race that we have. So we're going to want to put Duke Onwin Weybridge on the council, since he has some pretty good bonuses here. At negative 30% to the dust cost on units, and negative 30% strategic resource cost on units. So the strategic resource cost isn't as useful just yet, but being able to heal for less dust is helpful. And I think it's just a little better than some of the other bonuses that these units grant. So we'll place him on the council. It would also be weird if we didn't have anybody from our own race on our council. But the other position, we'll put one of these characters. The 40% gains on battle spoils, that's actually pretty decent. This one here has a penalty. You get the +4 dust per population on scribes, but scribes will also reduce the approval, so it has a penalty with it. So we'll probably end up going with this one here, Iron Magnates, which will reduce the industry cost for districts. So I think that's pretty helpful. So let's go and apply the changes. And we can reassign the council, but that will cost dust. So you'll see our 2 counselors here. I don't think we've taken a look at this screen yet. You know, it shows the empire approval, which we only have the 1 city, so it's 65%, you know, the approval of our capital. We could have 2 more cities. We'll actually be getting a 2nd city built probably in the next episode. You can see all of the bonuses or penalties that come with your faction. I know we looked at these in the beginning of episode 1, but in case you forgot. And then also you can see the population overview. So as you grow your population, you can get different bonuses based on the races in your empire. So this is the bonuses we get for the Last Lords. So once we get 5 population for Last Lords, which we currently have 4, so we just need 1 more, then we're going to unlock Tier 1, which is the ability to construct this improvement, the Altar of Channeling. And this grants 2+ dust for each of our population. I'm not sure how loud that Weed Whacker is. It seems really loud though, so hopefully it's not too annoying. But these are the bonuses we'd get for the Primordial Last Lord population. We only have 1 of those at the moment. And then for the Aneroy, they really only give you a bonus for the Tier 1. You're not likely to get to the Tier 2 or the Tier 3. It allows you to construct the Warren, which is an improvement to give some bonuses there. So we're going to go ahead and move our units. This is going to be another battle. Okay, so we'll actually do that in the next episode. So we started this episode with a battle against the Necrophage, and we'll be starting the next episode also with a battle against the Necrophage, though they might retreat. Probably not, since they're comparable strength. But this will be a more difficult one because they actually have their hero unit in charge. His name is Plays with Fire. He's a flying hero, level 2. Take a look at his bonuses. He can fly, obviously. Defense expert, physical training, and the power /1. So he's been leveling up his skills. And then he has those 3 swarm larva units. So we'll do that battle in the next episode. We will go ahead and move this unit here. Unfortunately, we can't reach that. And we have to be careful around these minor factions. Because they could destroy our scout unit here. We'll try and get that curiosity. I'm going to be surprised if these guys get over there first because they have a bit higher range because this is a cav unit. Alright, so again, we're not going to move that unit till the next turn because we'll go ahead and attack them. We do have this unit over here that's currently devouring the land. And so that'll take 3 turns, and it changes the botanical ruins to devoured land. So this is a problem. We need to get rid of these guys. The Necrophage are kind of a difficult enemy to neighbor. I think it's interesting that for our Let's Play, of course, we would neighbor them. We don't need to construct anything. We already have the Merchant's House that we're currently working on. Not going to rush that out. And we don't have any influence to spend. Alright, so unfortunately we do have to end this second episode here. We will have at least 1 more video. I'd like to show you guys what happens after the monsoon ends. Yeah, we'll do this battle as well. But I hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you did, make sure you like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. Do hope to see you on the next one. And thanks for watching.